Majored in engineering, and then when I got out of school, I started working for a military contractor. So I worked for Lockheed Martin at the time. And this was in the days, I'm going to date myself now, I'm 46. So this was in the days before GPS. So one of the neat programs I worked on was an avionics display for an F-22 fighter plane, and it was the ability to take a map and show the pilot a map over which the ground he was flying. So like if it was a cloudy day and he wasn't able to see the earth, he would have this moving map, and it was so awesome, and it was so cutting edge. So obviously this is before GPS, because I have one in my car now. Every car comes out with a GPS. And then I jumped to a company that made commercial products. So when I say the work that I did, I was a hardware design engineer. So if you look inside your phone or inside the computer, you guys will see green circuit cards, and that's what I designed. And then I went to a small company in Kansas, actually, where I met my husband, and that was Desk Station Technology was the name of the company. We built circuit boards, motherboards that went into computers that were used for graphic design applications, like computer-generated images. So this is like in the early 90s, and the kinds of movies that were coming out with CGI, computer graphic images. So that was very popular. After that, I took my same skill set, and I was able to switch to a medical electronics company. So I worked for Nelcor Puritan Bennett, they were called. And our company made, if you ever go into the hospital and they put a little finger clip on you and they're measuring the oxygen in your blood, we were a oxygen sensor type company. And then I went to a small company in Kansas, actually, where I met my husband, and that was Desk Station Technology was the name of the company. We built circuit boards, motherboards that went into computers that were used for graphic design applications, like computer-generated images. So this is like in the early 90s, and the kinds of movies that were coming out with CGI, computer graphic images. So that was very popular. After that, I took my same skill set, and I was able to switch to a medical electronics company. So I worked for Nelcor Puritan Bennett, they were called. And our company made, if you ever go into the hospital and they put a little finger clip on you and they're measuring the oxygen in your blood, we were a oxygen sensor type company. Then I went and worked for a company called Mentor Graphics. And that was when we were living in California. Mentor Graphics actually makes the tool set that runs on your computer that a hardware design engineer would use to put together a circuit board. Then my final company I worked for was a place called Applied Analytics. And that company built spectrometers, which is the word for a device that measures the purity of a chemical. My mother-in-law was a teacher at the time. She's since retired. And so I said, I think teaching sounds really cool. I like the idea of getting, work being done at 3 and then I'm home and blah, blah, blah. And she said, oh, it's a lot of work. It's not what it seems. You can't just jump in. She said, you need to make sure you get in the classroom and see if you like it. So I signed up in my school district to be a substitute teacher. So I thought, well, my gosh, I'm actually pretty strong in math, right? That was my background. When I was in engineering school, you take a lot of math and a lot of science classes, along with electrical specific engineering classes. So I thought, I wonder if I can help teach math. So I applied for a job as a paraprofessional. And this is actually talking to a couple of the teachers that I had worked with in my substituting. As a para, you get to put in for where you want to be. So I thought, you know what, I think I'd like to try working with older students. So I said, I put in for the high school. And I remember when my application was granted, if you will, and the principal of the elementary school came in and he said to me, "Mrs. Folsom, I have news of where you're going to be placed." And I said, "That sounds good." And he said, "You have to sit down." So I sat down and he said, "They put you at the high school." And I said, "Okay, good, that's where I want to be." And he was like, "Whew, I was afraid that you were going to be concerned with that." So I was at the high school then for the high school, Neshoba Regional High School. In the meantime, I started looking into what it took to become a teacher. I had to take some tests. I actually took my test at Fitchburg High School. How cool is that? I took several tests, and I became certified for teaching both middle school and high school mathematics.